February 10th, 1567, Edinburgh. 2 a.m. An explosion rips through Kirk of Field. The blast is so loud it's heard across the entire city. And when people arrive, the house is rubble. Gunpowder. Someone packed the basement with barrels of it. But here's what's wild. Lord Darnley's body? Found in the garden, under a pear tree, not burned, not crushed, strangled. 3 months later, Mary marries the chief murder suspect, the Earl of Bothwell, the man everyone knows eliminated her husband, and she marries him 3 months after the body was found. This is pure Sagittarius energy meets catastrophic romantic delusion. Because Mary's chart didn't just predict she'd make terrible relationship decisions. It predicted she'd follow her heart straight off a cliff. 3 times. And here's what gets me. That Leo moon, it needed the drama, craved it, could not exist without grand romantic gestures and theatrical declarations of love. And wait till you see what her chart shows about why she trusted the exact people who destroyed her. There's a Venus pattern that explains why she kept choosing men who were walking red flags, and the Mars placement, that predicted the exact way power would slip through her fingers. Before we get into this absolutely unhinged story, if you're obsessed with understanding historical figures through astrology, hit subscribe. And listen, I want to know, do you think Mary's Sagittarius optimism made her a romantic visionary or just spectacularly bad at reading people? Drop your take in the comments because I'm genuinely curious if you'd want her chart's passion, knowing it comes with 0 survival instincts. Okay, so Mary, Queen of Scots, born December 8, 1542, Linlithgow Palace, Scotland. Sun in Sagittarius, moon in Leo, rising in Aquarius. Let me tell you about this chart because it's absolutely wild. Sagittarius sun, fire sign, ruled by Jupiter, planet of expansion and excess. Sagittarius is the adventurer, the optimist, the one who acts first and asks questions later, or sometimes never asks questions at all. They believe in grand narratives, higher meanings, destiny. They see the best in people. They ignore red flags. They genuinely think love conquers all and that if you just follow your heart, everything works out. Narrator, it did not work out. Then we've got that Leo moon, another fire sign. Fire on fire. This is someone who needs constant validation, grand romance, passionate declarations. Leo moon can't do quiet love, can't do practical partnerships. Everything has to feel like a fairy tale, or it's not worth having. They need to be adored, worshipped, told they're special every single day, and rising in Aquarius gives her this idealistic, rebellious streak. This belief that she can break the rules and still win. Put it together and Mary's chart screams, I will make catastrophically bad relationship decisions and be genuinely shocked every single time. The Sagittarius optimism tells her it'll work out. The Leo moon makes her choose partners based on passion instead of strategy, and that fire-on-fire combo? 0 impulse control. None. When she feels something, she acts on it immediately. 6 days old. That's how old Mary was when she became Queen of Scotland. Her father, James V, died December 14th, 1542, 6 days after she was born. She inherited an entire kingdom before she could even focus her eyes. Born premature, tiny, fragile, the only legitimate child of James to survive. And immediately everyone wanted her. England wanted to marry her to Edward, Henry VIII's son. Unite the kingdoms through marriage. France wanted her married to the Dauphin. Control Scotland through alliance, she was 6 days old and already a political chess piece. But here's where we start seeing the Sagittarius love for freedom clash with duty. At 5 years old, she's sent to France for safety. Henry VIII is literally invading Scotland trying to force the marriage to his son. It's called the rough wooing. Actual warfare to secure a child bride. Unhinged behavior. So Mary goes to the French court. And this is where that Leo moon gets fed everything it needs. She's adored there. Absolutely adored. The French court thinks she's gorgeous, charming, brilliant. She learns French, Italian, Latin, Spanish, Scots. She plays lute. She sings. She's 5'11", with red gold hair and this magnetic presence. The Leo moon is living its absolute fantasy. Constant admiration, constant validation. Everyone telling her how special she is. And that Sagittarius sun is soaking up French culture, adventure, freedom. She's not stuck in cold, austere Scotland dealing with Protestant preachers. She's in France, living her best life. Age 15, she marries Francis, the Dauphin. He's 14, sickly, absolutely adores her. This is her first husband, and it's actually kind of sweet. He worships her. She's kind to him. The Leo moon is getting that adoration it needs. Francis becomes King of France. Mary is now Queen of Scotland and Queen of France, living the dream. But then December 1560, Francis dies. Ear infection, just 17 months of marriage. She's widowed at 18, and now she has to go back to Scotland, which has become Protestant, cold, harsh, run by men like John Knox who absolutely hate Catholic women with power. August, she's 19, returns to Scotland as a widow queen wearing dramatic French Catholic fashion in Protestant Scotland. Classic Sagittarius move. Zero reading the room. Just showing up as her authentic self, expecting everyone to vibe with it. But here's what's interesting. At first, she governs pretty well. Sagittarius can be pragmatic when they want to be. She tolerates Protestantism, balances factions, actually shows political skill. The Sagittarius optimism is like everyone can just get along, we can make this work. And for a few years, it kind of does. But then comes husband number 2. Enter Lord Darnley. Mary meets him and it's instant. He's her cousin, he's tall, really tall. He's pretty, he's Catholic. The Leo moon sees that height and that face and goes, approved. The Sagittarius sun sees the Catholic connection and goes, politically advantageous. Everyone warns her, everyone. Darnley is vain, unstable, drinks constantly, throws tantrums like a toddler. He's 19 years old and acts like he's 12. She marries him anyway. 3 weeks. 3 weeks from meeting him to marrying him. July 29th, 1565. Peak Sagittarius impulsivity. That fire sign energy that just cannot wait, cannot slow down. Feels something and immediately acts on it. The honeymoon phase lasts approximately 5 minutes. Turns out Darnley married her for power. He wants to be king, real king, not just king consort. And when Mary won't give him actual authority, he loses it, drinks more, becomes jealous, becomes violent. And then there's David Riccio, Mary's Italian secretary, musician, started as a bass singer in her choir. By late 1564, she trusted him enough to make him her French secretary, gave him the key to her personal papers. They shared interests, music, poetry, late-night conversations about politics. Darnley hated him, absolutely hated him. Partly jealousy, partly because Scottish nobles thought Riccio was too powerful for a foreign servant. But mostly, Darnley genuinely thought Riccio was sleeping with Mary, thought the baby Mary was carrying might not be his. March 9th, 1566. Saturday night. Mary is 6 months pregnant. She's having a small supper in her private chambers at Holyrood Palace. Just Riccio and a few ladies in waiting, intimate, cozy. 8 p.m. Darnley suddenly appears, joins the table, and then everything explodes. Lord Ruthven bursts in wearing full armor, sick, haggard, looking like death. Behind him, more men, armed. Mary stands, demands to know what's happening. Ruthven says Riccio has offended the Queen's honor. Riccio realizes what's happening, scrambles behind Mary, literally grabs onto her dress, begging. Mary is trying to shield him. She's 6 months pregnant, and these men are trying to drag her secretary away from her. Someone points a gun at Mary's stomach, at her pregnant belly. They rip Riccio away from her, drag him screaming into the next room, and they stab him over and over, 56 times. 56. They throw his body down the main staircase. Leave it there. Mary is left in her chambers, covered in Riccio's blood, 6 months pregnant, in shock. And Darnley was part of it. Her husband helped murder her friend in front of her while she was carrying his child. Imagine that Leo moon in that moment. The betrayal, the horror, the complete destruction of trust. But here's where we see that Sagittarius survival instinct kick in. 3 days later, despite being traumatized and heavily pregnant, Mary escapes Edinburgh Castle, convinces Darnley to help her. So yes, the same Darnley who just helped murder Riccio. She manipulates him, tells him the other nobles are using him, that they'll turn on him next. And it works, because Sagittarius can be strategic when survival depends on it. June 1566, she gives birth to James. Now desperately wants out of this marriage, but divorce isn't really an option in 16th century Scotland. So what happens? Darnley conveniently ends up eliminated. February 10th, 1567. Kirk O'Field explodes. Darnley's body found strangled in the garden. Everyone immediately suspects the Earl of Bothwell, Mary's ally, her closest advisor, and here's where it gets absolutely wild. Here's where every terrible pattern in Mary's chart comes together in one spectacularly bad decision. May 1567, 3 months after Darnley's death, 3 months. The Earl of Bothwell abducts Mary on the road from Stirling. April 24th, takes her to Dunbar Castle. He's got 800 armed men. Most historians think she went willingly, that the abduction was arranged, but officially he abducted her, possibly assaulted her, definitely convinced her they needed to marry for her protection, and she agrees. The Sagittarius genuinely believes this is the right move. Bothwell is strong. He's defended her before. He stayed loyal when Riccio was murdered. He can protect her throne. And that Leo Moon? It's so starved for passionate love after the Darnley disaster that it's ready to believe in romance again. Bothwell gets divorced from his wife on May 3rd. 12 days later, May 15th, they're married. Scotland explodes. The nobles are furious. The people are horrified. Her advisors abandon her because Mary just married the man everyone knows eliminated her husband 3 months after finding the body. The optics are catastrophically bad. And Sagittarius didn't see it coming because Sagittarius never does. That optimism, that belief that if your intentions are good, everything works out. That inability to play the long political game, this is the pattern. Right here. This is what destroys her. June 1567. 1 month after marrying Bothwell, the Scottish lords force her to abdicate. She's imprisoned at Lochleven Castle. But even there, guards fall in love with her. Leo Moon magnetism. That warmth and charisma that draws people in no matter what. May 1568. She escapes, flees to England seeking Elizabeth's protection. And this is maybe the biggest Sagittarius mistake of all. She puts herself directly in her enemy's hands because she genuinely believes Elizabeth will help her. They're cousins. They're both queens. Surely Elizabeth will support her. Narrator. Elizabeth imprisons her for 19 years. 19 years. Let that sink in. From age 25 to 44. The prime of her life. Locked away. Because Elizabeth is a Virgo who understands strategy. And Mary is a threat to the English throne. Catholic. Legitimate claim through her grandmother, Margaret Tudor. Too dangerous to let free. At first, Mary thinks it's temporary. That Sagittarius optimism again. Thinking Elizabeth will see reason. Thinking this will be resolved quickly. It never is. She's moved between castles and manor houses. Tutbury, Sheffield, Chartley. Always watched, always restricted. The Leo Moon that needs admiration and grand romance, forced into captivity, into loneliness. And people keep plotting to free her, put her on the English throne instead of Elizabeth. Whether Mary actively participates or just passively allows these plots, that's debated. But they keep happening. The Babington plot. This is the one that finally destroys her. Anthony Babington, 24-year-old Catholic gentleman, had been a page in the household where Mary was kept, developed a romantic admiration for the imprisoned queen, that Leo Moon charm even through prison walls. Babington and a group of young Catholics planned to assassinate Elizabeth, free Mary, put her on the throne. The Spanish will invade to support them. Classic doomed conspiracy. But here's what makes it deadly. Elizabeth's spy master, Francis Walsingham, knows about it from the start. He's watching, waiting. He wants Mary's involvement in writing. They set up a secret communication system, letters hidden in beer barrels being delivered to Chartley Castle where Mary's imprisoned. She thinks it's secure. It's not. Every letter is intercepted, decoded, read by Walsingham's codebreakers. July 1586. Babington writes to Mary, explains the plan, the assassination, her rescue, asks for her approval, and Mary writes back, in code, July 17th. She doesn't say no. She discusses timing, logistics, says wait until the assassination is done, then rescue her quickly. She doesn't stop it. That's the critical part. She has a chance to say no, to forbid the assassination. She doesn't. Maybe she's desperate after 18 years of captivity. Maybe that Sagittarius optimism finally broke. Maybe she just wanted freedom no matter the cost. Walsingham has her, in her own handwriting. approving a plot to assassinate Elizabeth. August 1586, Mary's arrested, Babington and the conspirators are rounded up, tried, executed brutally, hanged, drawn, and quartered. October 1586, Mary's put on trial at Fotheringhay Castle for treason. She's not allowed legal counsel, not allowed to see the evidence against her. Her own secretaries testify against her under pressure. She's found guilty. But Elizabeth hesitates. For months, doesn't want to sign the death warrant. Whether it's familial sympathy or political calculation, no one knows. February 1st, 1587. Elizabeth finally signs it. Her advisors, worried Elizabeth will change her mind, execute Mary within the week without telling Elizabeth the exact timing. February 7th, evening. Mary is told she'll be executed the next morning. And here's where that Sagittarius courage finally serves her instead of destroying her. She spends her last night calmly, writing letters, distributing her belongings to her servants, praying. No panic, no begging, just acceptance. February 8th, 1587, morning. The Great Hall at Fotheringhay Castle, a scaffold draped in black. 300 witnesses. Mary walks in wearing a black dress over a red petticoat, red for Catholic martyrdom. That Leo moon making a statement even at the end. She's 44 years old, has been a prisoner for 19 years, and she meets death with absolute dignity. She tells her weeping servants not to cry, prays aloud, forgives her executioner. The execution itself is brutal. The axe takes 3 strikes, but she never screams, never begs. That Sagittarius bravery, that Leo moon pride. Both finally aligned for one last performance, so let's talk about what her chart actually reveals, because every single terrible decision makes sense astrologically. Pattern 1, Sagittarius optimism equals terrible judgment. She genuinely believed each marriage would work out. Sagittarius sees the best in people, ignores obvious red flags, thinks it'll be fine, even when literally everyone is telling you it won't be fine. She never learned. Darnley was a disaster, so she married another disaster 3 months later. Pattern 2. Leo moon needs grand romance. Couldn't be alone. Needed to be adored. Made every relationship decision based on emotion rather than strategy. That moon wanted passionate love stories, even when they were politically catastrophic. Compare her to her cousin Elizabeth, Virgo. Elizabeth played the long game, stayed unmarried, used marriage negotiations as political tools. Mary couldn't do that. Her chart wouldn't let her. Pattern 3. Fire sign impulsivity. Married Darnley in 3 weeks. Married Bothwell 3 months after her husband was eliminated. Fire signs act on feelings immediately. There's no pause button, no, let me think about this. Just pure immediate action. Pattern 4. Sagittarius doesn't do strategy. Sagittarius wants freedom, adventure, passion. Right now. Can't sacrifice the present for future gains. Elizabeth could. Elizabeth was willing to be lonely and unmarried for political power. Mary couldn't stand it. Pattern 5. The romantic idealist. Sagittarius believes in higher meanings, grand narratives. Mary saw herself as a romantic heroine, not a political chess piece. That Leo moon added theatrical flair. She literally performed her own tragedy. Every decision makes sense when you look at her chart. The speed, the passion, the optimism, the refusal to see danger until it was too late. And that Leo moon. Think about what those 19 years of imprisonment did to it. A placement that needs attention, admiration, validation, grand romantic gestures, locked away, isolated, forgotten by most of the world. No wonder she responded to Babington's plot. No wonder she took the risk. That moon was starving. Here's what really gets me, though. Would we remember Mary if she'd been strategic? If she'd married for politics, played it safe, made calculated moves? Probably not. We remember her because she was passionate, because she followed her heart even when it led to disaster, because she chose love over power every single time. That's the Sagittarius gift and curse. That's the Leo moon blessing and tragedy. Maximum authenticity, maximum passion, 0 survival skills. And her legacy? Her son James became King of England when Elizabeth died, united the crowns of Scotland and England. The thing Mary wanted, her son achieved, because he had none of her chart's romantic impulsivity. He was calculated, strategic, cold. Everything Mary wasn't, Sagittarius sun plus Leo moon, equals maximum passion, minimum strategy. She needed freedom but was trapped by duty. She craved grand romance but got political nightmares. She believed love conquered all and that optimism destroyed her kingdom. If she'd had a water moon or an earth moon, she might have survived. Water moon would have given her emotional intelligence. Earth moon would have given her patience and practical thinking. But fire on fire? In a 16th century political landscape where survival required calculation. Catastrophic. The Sagittarius couldn't see threats coming. Couldn't believe people meant her harm. Kept trusting the wrong people because that Jupiter optimism said everything would work out. The Leo moon couldn't survive without romance, couldn't make strategic marriages, needed to feel adored and special and passionate every single day. And that combination meant she chose Darnley in 3 weeks. It chose Bothwell 3 months after her husband's death. Chose to flee to England thinking Elizabeth would protect her. Chose to respond to Babington's plot after 18 years of captivity broke her. Every choice makes sense when you understand her chart. The speed, the passion, the terrible judgment, the inability to play the long game. She wasn't stupid. She was educated, cultured, charming, capable of governing well when she wanted to. But her chart sabotaged her at every turn, because Sagittarius acts first and thinks later. And Leo moon needs love more than power. And when you combine those two in a 16th century queen, the ending is basically written in the stars. 6 days old and Queen of Scotland, 44 years old and meeting her death with courage. And every terrible, beautiful, passionate, disastrous choice in between. Explained by a Sagittarius sun who believed in love and a Leo moon who needed it more than air. That's what happens when fire meets fire, when optimism meets drama. When your heart makes decisions, your head screams are catastrophic. You burn bright, you burn fast, and you leave a story that people tell for centuries.